and welcome tonight. Our session is called Confident Conversations, Partnering with Your Child's Teacher. So, children learn best when the significant adults in their lives, parents, teachers, and other family and community members, work together to encourage and support them. This is a quote by Mark Rosenthal. Um, and this is what is bringing us together this evening. Is that we all care and have a commitment to making our students successful and to become their best selves. By working together, we can help them achieve this. So, why parent-teacher conferences matter? Well, research shows that when families and teachers work together, students are more likely to earn better grades and have positive mindsets about school and learning. They provide a time when families and teachers can create a shared plan for how to support the student. And it's an opportunity for families to ask important questions about their students' academic progress. The parent-teacher conference is an opportunity for the student to be the priority. It's a safe, dedicated space for the adults from home and school to come together and share about the students' needs and celebrate their progress. Preparing for the conference. To get ready, talk to your student. Ask them questions like, which subjects do you like the most and the least? Is there anything the student would like you to talk to their teacher about? Make sure your student knows the meeting is to help them. It's important to help your student feel comfortable and confident about the meeting. Encourage them to share with you. Make sure they know it's not a punishment. It's a time for the adults to come together to celebrate what they're doing well and to make a plan for how to support them so that they become their best selves. Another thing you can do to prepare is to gather input from other adults in the students' lives. So, is there an aunt or an uncle, a grandparent who spends a significant amount of time with the student? Ask them, are there any questions you would like me to ask the teacher? Another way to prepare is to make a list. Create a list of questions to ask the teacher and write down any topics you would like to discuss that will help the teacher learn more about your child. It's easy to forget what you wanted to say, so it's best to write it down. Having conversations can be overwhelming at times, and we can get off topic easily. So if you have your questions and topics written down, you won't forget them. Wondering what questions to ask? Here are some examples. You can ask, what will my student be learning this year? What are my students' strongest and weakest subjects? What types of tests will my student be taking this year? Does my student participate in discussions and activities? What strategies do you use to help my child learn English? And what can we do at home to support my students' learning? Feel free to come off mute or type in the chat. What are some other questions you might ask your student's teacher? This is a time for you to connect with other parents and learn from each other as well. Okay. What to expect during the conference. So now that you have your questions and your topics ready, what you can expect is to have time to ask your questions. Some tips to follow are be on time for the meeting so that you can have as much time as possible with your student's teacher. Remember that the teacher has had to make time for everyone, so it's important to follow timelines. Ask the most important questions first, just in case you run out of time. Ask for explanations of anything you don't understand. The school system uses many acronyms and specialized topics. As teachers, we're immersed in this world, and it's easy for us to forget that not everybody understands the different terms that we use sometimes. So always, always feel free to ask. We understand. Also, if your child receives special services, has an IEP or 504, ask the teacher about your student's progress. It's okay to ask for specifics. You can ask them to tell you how they're meeting the needs for your specific student. Also, ask any questions that helps you understand how your student can be successful. You are an important member of the learning team. Again, feel free to come off mute or type in the chat. Do you have any advice to share with the families here? All right. During this conference, it's a great time to address any problems that you're noticing. Discuss any difficulties your student might be having at school. This could be behavioral or academic. Ask for examples of the difficulties. Ask what is being done at school to help address the problem. Ask how you might support the student with this problem at home. You want to seek as much clarity as possible so that you understand what the problem is And agree on how to stay in communication about it with your teacher. Develop an action plan with the teacher. Agree with the teacher about the steps they will take to help your student with any difficulties they're having. And come to an agreement with the teacher about the steps you will take to help your student with any difficulties they're having. Discuss the best ways you and your student's teacher can communicate. And discuss ways you can monitor your student's progress from home. Things to be aware of for your English learner students specifically. Ask your teacher about reclassification. The goal for all students is to become proficient in English and exit the English learner program. Ask your student's teacher to explain the reclassification process, and be sure to talk to your student about what they need to do in order to reclassify. On the screen here, you can see 4 criteria students must meet in order to reclassify. They have to score level 4 on the LPAC, which we'll talk about momentarily. Have a C- or higher in ELA, English Language Arts. Meet academic goals. And pass one of the available assessment options. These assessment options vary depending on what grade level the student is in. Your teacher will know which one to choose. So for the LPAC, again, students must receive a 4 on the summative LPAC. LPAC stands for English Language Proficiency Assessment, California. It helps teachers know how to plan instructional supports for your student, and it determines which ELD, English Language Development, course your student will take when they are in grades 7 through 12. And again, it's used to determine eligibility for reclassification. Students must earn an overall level of 4 in order to be eligible. More information on the LPAC. The skills tested on the LPAC are in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For reading, students have to read a variety of materials and answer questions about what they've read. They'll ask questions like, what is the main idea? Why do you think the author wrote this article? Or ask what words mean in the story. For writing, students write about different topics for different purposes, such as giving an opinion, describing a picture, and writing about academic information. For listening, students listen to a variety of scenarios, which include conversations, presentations, and stories, and they answer questions about what they heard. For speaking, students are expected to speak English for a variety of purposes, such as supporting their opinion, summarizing a presentation, retelling a story, or talking about an image. This is what the LPAC score report looks like. You'll receive one once your child's LPAC test has been scored. It will come in the mail to your home. There are 3 performance levels. When it comes to the overall score, a level 4 means that students have well-developed English skills. They can usually use English to learn new things in school and to interact in social situations. They may occasionally need help using English. For level 3, students have moderately developed English skills. They can sometimes use English to learn new things in school and to interact in social situations. They may need help using English to communicate on less familiar school topics and in less familiar social situations. For level 2, students have somewhat developed English skills. They usually need help using English to learn new things at school and to interact in social situations. They can often use English for simple communication. And for level 1, students are at the beginning stages of developing English skills. They usually need substantial help using English to learn new things in school and to interact in social situations. They may know some English words and phrases. Again, in order to reclassify, your student needs to be at a level of 4. This is a second page of an example of the score report. Students are assessed in the oral language and in written language. Oral language is a combination of students' speaking and listening scores. Written language is a combination of the students' reading and writing scores. When it comes to the performance levels you see on the score report, well-developed means students can use English to learn and communicate in meaningful ways. They may need help using English sometimes. Somewhat developed, students have a grasp of English skills, but more learning is needed. They may need a little help to communicate about familiar topics in English and more help with less familiar topics. And then beginning to develop, students have learned a small amount of English. They may be able to use some words and phrases in English to communicate at a basic level. Students who are here need a lot of help using English. Feel free to come off mute or type in the chat. Do you have any questions about the LPAC test? Okay. So again, reclassification. Be sure that you talk to your student about the importance of trying their best on tests. Encourage your student to keep their grades up. Let your student know that it is okay to ask the teacher for extra help. And are there any questions about reclassification? Okay. What to do after the conference? Talk to your student about the conference. Share the positive things you and the teacher talked about. Explain the importance of assessments and grades to your student. Be direct when you address any difficulties you and the teacher discussed. Explain the actions you and the teacher plan to take in order to help the student be successful. Create a plan with your student about the actions they will take to help themselves be successful. Remember to make the conference that you're having with the teacher to be a positive experience for the student as well. As a reminder, the goal is to help provide support and teamwork for the student. Remember that you and your student's teacher are a team. Reach out to your student's teacher whenever you have any questions or concerns. I know there have been questions about how you can support your student with learning English at home. The best thing you can do is to encourage your student to read. Mm. There are multiple resources available to provide reading materials in your native language and in English. These slides will be available to you, and each of these are linked websites where you can go to find stories and different reading material in English and in a variety of other languages. It's just as important for your student to read in their native language as it is for your student to read in English. Also, the Sacramento Public Library provides all Twin Rivers students with a digital library card. Their username is TR plus their lunch number, and the password is the year the student was born. If you have a cell phone, you can download the apps Hoopla, Libby, or Overdrive and borrow ebooks and audiobooks from the library onto your phone. They also have magazines that you can check out, cookbooks, and newspapers. Here are some other resources. When you get your slides, each of these images is linked to the website. First Words Project is a website for parents of early childhood students. English Central provides an interactive video library that helps students learn vocabulary words and work on pronunciation. And VOA Learning English contains videos for learning English and are created by certified American English teachers. Also, we have a new program, Summit K-12, that helps students learn English and prepares them for the LPAC. Each of your students has licenses for family members. We will be providing a training for Summit K-12 coming soon. And that is my presentation for the evening. Are there any questions for me? Feel free to send me an email if you find you have a question that you think of later. Thank you for coming.